Hello and welcome to the weekly Shakeout of Paula's Run Club with me, Paula Radcliffe.
And me, Christopher Thomson.
And this is that time in the week when we get to as many of your listener interaction questions as we can do and try our very best to be able to bring some solutions to you. And I'm going to kick off this week with a text message that's come in. So thank you for sending the questions in on text as well as by email and on socials. And this is from Jim Marshall. And he says, thanks for the great content and stories. Just a quick question. Can non-elites use the track in Font-Romeu? I've got the qualifying time for British Masters in the marathon and half and might have a serious go next year. So I had a holiday in Font about 6 years ago. Absolutely loved the ski trails through the woods. Thanks for inspiring me. That's from Jim. And the answer is yes, absolutely you can. There is I think there's a €6 fee to get on the track for one workout or one day, or you can pay €25 a week and then you get the weekly pass, and then I think it goes up from there. So if you're staying for longer than that, you can keep adding up the monthly passes, but you absolutely can get on the track and be inspired by all the athletes on there. And that reminds me, I was running around the trails with Raf the other day and he said, you know, Mum, it'd be really cool to have a run club out here and be able to go up one of those trails. So yeah, hands up if you fancy joining out here. We'd have to, I think, make a bit more accommodation work and
flights and things
like that.
I've got my hand
I
up.
can see you've got your hand up. Yep, absolutely. I think it would be
for
brilliant.
those listening. I've got my hand up
to be able to share that with people.
But the font I love, but it's the thing that I quite liked about Font is you don't necessarily need a car. So if you do go there, you've got a lot of running around the track area, and you've got that little town, not at the bottom of the hill, but just below the track area. So a lot of elite athletes.
Hermitage.
There you go. Would stay in sort of there's complexes and there's probably, I'm sure, Airbnbs and all that kind of stuff that's around. But there's you can run around the kind of hills, and it's what would you say was the distance between the track and the plateau? You can run if you ran like
I regularly run that. I ran that the other day. I posted it last week on Instagram as one of my stories. The track is about just 1,850 metres or something like that. I think my apartment is just behind the track, so literally I can look out at the track right now, and we're at 1,900, and I can climb. It takes me about 35 minutes to climb up to 2,100.
Yeah,
if I'm running quick
and that's
enough.
the thing. Yeah, but there's lots of, like you say, there's lots of stuff for people to use. So if people are runners and they like the thought of it, I feel like it's it's quite a very affordable place, and also. If you go at the right time of year, I've been there training in the summer, and Tour de France sometimes doesn't go too far away. So I went to watch the Tour de France on one of their, I think they're only 20 minutes down the road. And I have to say, I don't watch the whole thing. I know it's a massive sport to watch, but I always thought going to watch it live would not feel the same as watching it on TV because you don't see as much. But honestly, the carnival atmosphere that I saw, just freights of things throwing free gifts at people for effectively an hour before the actual cyclist. Is that what they call it? And it was honestly, I absolutely loved it. It was way more than I thought it would be, and that was on one of those trips. They passed one of the mountain ranges nearby, but it was it's a lovely place. Lots of typical French kind of fresh croissants and coffees and stuff like that. I'd tell you one quick Font-Romeu story. I just thought this. There was the French walking team were there with their family, and us Brits were sat in the cafe. And you know, when you go to a cafe, you sit down, you have a chat, and you're generally there for probably half an hour, sort of having a chat. You have your coffee, you have your sandwich. This French family, there must have been about 10, 15 of them, all came in. And they kind of moved the chairs around, seats, everything. They took ages to get it all out how they wanted it. Ordered their shot of espresso, and they spent a good probably 3-4 minutes arranging the chairs. They all sat down, and within 30 seconds of sitting down, they all necked their shot, and they all got up and left. And I was just like, they spent more time arranging the chairs and getting it right than they necked it, and then off they went to do their session. I thought. It must be just culturally, it's it's just like an in and out job, but you still have to get it right to sit in the thing. It was sorry, my phone buzzing. Do you know Gemma's just texted saying George is well, it's a comment. I'll tell you what it said. It was Gemma telling me George is down, just going to shop with Theo to get a magazine. There you go. So that's in the room next door. Anyway,
there you go.
Sorry. So anyway, right, next question. Hang on, I'm going to come to it. See, it tells you it's live. It's all coming to you real time.
Yeah.
Right, this is from Jay. Unfortunately, I don't have the name. It just came in on a text as Jay. So, hi, Paul and Thommo. Hope you are both well. I'm running my first marathon in Loch Ness on the 28th of September. I'm really excited and a little nervous. I've looked at the topography. Sorry, that's me and my dyslexia a little bit. And the first half is mainly downhill. Do you have any tips on saving your quads on the downhill for later in the race? Hope you can put my mind at ease. Thanks for the pod. Absolutely love it. Cheers, Jay. I think that's a really, really, really good question because I think, especially, I think people can, and we've talked a little bit downhill, people can underestimate the kind of fatiguing aspect of downhill running because what downhill running is, and athletes will use this in training. So some athletes do hill reps, but they also do a hill rep downhill because what downhill does is really stresses the elastic kind of strength of your body. And what I mean by that is your ability to hold your body up, your tension through your body. And it's very fatiguing to overuse that. As you're going down the hill and you're effectively braking. So I think
you need to try not to, don't you?
Yes. I was going to let you answer it like that, but I was going to say for me, it's there's a couple of aspects of. I'll let Paula answer it in her own way, but I just think mentally kind of freeing yourself and not trying to tense up is a big part of it, and almost not seeing the downhill as about pace. It's about almost a little bit at the beginning about preservation. So you get to the bottom of the hill and you're not feeling like you almost, I guess the best way to describe it, when you get to the bottom, you don't feel like you've sunk 6 inches. You feel like you can still run off it. So it's not like you kind of dip down. You're not actually dipping down. But it's that elastic ability to hold yourself up that kind of fatigues out. But in training, I would say just practice a little bit of how you run down the hill, not necessarily doing lots, but how you go down it so you can apply it within the race. Sorry, Paul, you crack on.
No, absolutely. I mean, I think it's a really valid point. It's something I did a lot of research going into Boston and tried to really incorporate it in my training. And I live in a hilly area. I do a lot of trail runs on hills. And to your point, spent a lot of time practicing running down hills for long, extended periods of time. So I'm talking about like 3-4 miles consistently downhill, which is kind of replicating what it is in Boston, certainly. I think Loch Ness is a bit steeper with those downhills. And I think the key, absolutely, as you said, is relaxing. And it's not trying to brake. So it's the instinct is to brake or to think, oh, hey, I've got a really steep downhill. I'm going to use everything that's got in there to hammer it down this hill to be able to get a bit of time in the bag. And it doesn't quite work that way because what you will do is cause a lot of soreness in your quads, which are the main muscle of braking when you're running downhill and absorbing and going into the next stride. So it is about relaxing and finding a rhythm which can be quicker than you would normally be running on the flat. Of course it is, but not too much faster. So it's about not getting sucked into running too quickly, I think, on the downhills, practicing it, as you said. So big advocate for hill training, as we've talked about on the podcast, in marathon training anyway. Just make sure that you're really running that recovery downhill, not hard, but you're running and you're training that muscle as well. Cool. And I think squats, if you're going to incorporate some kind of weight training into the week, squats are a really good one for enabling you to run well down the hill.
I was going to say the other thing, and I will acknowledge Lewis Moses, a good friend of ours, for this tip when it comes to downhill running, because he does a lot of trail stuff now. And on one of his camps, I know he was training people to zigzag down. So you can take out some of the steepness through zigzagging down the path. Depending on, I mean, Loch Ness, I would imagine would require that certainly at some points, rather than just going head first down like a roller coaster. Actually zigzag, so you're taking some of the gradient out. Yes, you're running a little bit further, but I'm not saying like run 10 meters one way, 10 meters the other. It's just small zigzags just to take some of the gradient and also offset the quads a bit, because by going sideways you are kind of maneuvering the way the quads interact with the ground, and it's not just sheer down the front, posterior or anterior to the body. So zigzagging, but again, that takes a bit of practice because you don't want to fall and roll. But these are all things just to preparation is key to anything like this, and certainly downhill running. So I think your confidence will come through practicing, but also hopefully these little tips to kind of go away and practice. But I always take solace in.
One more point, Tom, I'm just thinking about it quickly. When you run downhill, you forefoot strike all the time, don't you? Or is that just me?
Depends on the shoes
naturally,
you're wearing, but I think
you don't want to be heel striking running downhill, because that's increasing the braking, isn't it? So I think if you practice running downhill, forefoot striking.
I think again we probably need, it'd be good to get Lewis Moses on to talk about this genuinely, because he's a great track athlete, and then this is where, look, hands up when it comes to the trail aspect of how you go. I know some shoe companies have built things around exactly what you're talking about, heel to forefoot, and how you cushion that. And I think Lewis would be a good person to get on to talk a little bit more in depth about that. I certainly, if we're on a road and it's a bit more flat and a bit more predictable underfoot, it is a different mentality when you're dodging stones and you're going down a trail, and it's a bit more, the train kind of moves up and down. And I think how you foot strike and how the relationship of how you negotiate and almost wiggle down, I think it would be good to get Lewis on and talk a little bit about that. I think actually. I'm trying to pass the buck. There. I just think,
wiggle down.
Do the Lewis wiggle. Right.
So,
cool.
I'm going to jump to the other end of the spectrum now. This is from Andrew Burton-Jones. Dear Paula's Run Club, I'm a listener from Brisbane, Australia. Thank you very much, and a shout out to everyone listening in Australia. I came across your podcast when training for my first marathon this May. My dad sadly died in April, and some of your podcasts on the emotions of running really helped me still run on the day. I'm glad we could help, and I'm really sorry for your loss, Andrew. I'm really grateful for the podcast, he says. Your podcast about running with your kids prompted me to write this email. Just like you said in your podcast, my daughter is the one pushing me. First to do a half marathon together, we've now done 3, and now suggesting that we do a marathon together. However, I'm not sure if she's too young. She turns 18 in March, and we would be looking to run the marathon a few months after that. Is that too young for a marathon? Thanks so much, Andrew. So you see why I put this question in now, Tomo, right?
Yeah.
Because I went through these same agonies with my daughter, Andrew, when she decided she was going to run a marathon. And I wasn't sure if just having turned 18 was a little bit too young. And actually, I think it was really important because it was something that she wanted to do. She did it for her, and she's come through it stronger. She had a phenomenal experience, if it was a little bit difficult on the day. And I think that providing you're looking at running this together and supporting each other, and she's not trying to train super hard and smash it out of the park in her first marathon, I think it is a really great thing to do together, and just to enjoy that experience together, and maybe just have some memories of your dad while you're doing that together. I think it could really help both of you. What do you think, Tomo?
I couldn't agree more. I know they do have an age limit of a minimum age of 18 for marathons for adult purposes, but I think by nature, when you're trying to conundrum, I think this is the beautiful thing about marathon. The question is why, and I wouldn't necessarily encourage someone who's 18 who's thinking I'm trying to run, make the Olympics or run as fast as they possibly could. I don't think that's a good why, personally, from my perspective, because I think you've still got a lot more developing to do. But if it's to do with fundraising, a personal achievement, and it's about getting round and all the reasons you've stated, then personally I think that's a really good reason. And I think the only thing, and you've already insinuated this, she's already done half marathons and she has an experience in marathon running. So again, I wouldn't, I know Ida did a bit of this, if she didn't do a huge amount of training for it, and she came out fine. But I would encourage someone who is 18 to try and do some running beforehand to get prepared, and the why being a lot more about the enjoyment and the buzz of what you're trying to get out of it, and the sense of achievement rather than a time goal or anything like that. So I think that would be hopefully my rounded explanation for it, because I do see elite athletes run very, I think a recent athlete ran very, very quick, and they were very, very prepared to do it. But I think 18 is maybe what helps them a race sort of define, because you have to define an age to help with probably legal reasons. But for you personally, it's about your why, and preparation and all those kind of things, rather than just going, oh, I'm 18, I'm suddenly can do it. Just bit of prep, bit of keep the reasons good. And I've just realised something.
Good luck
I've
to
got to
both
get
of
the
you,
green
Andrew.
bin out. I've got to get the green bin out. I've just realised the guy's coming. Hold on, pause. I've got to get the green bin out.
Okay. Oh dear, do we want to... There he is. He's back in. You remembered to creep in that time. You forgot when you ran out. You didn't hear me then, did you? You forgot when you ran out that you didn't have anything on.
Oh, did you see my bum? You did you?
No. I did think that as you ran out, I was like, I didn't actually look to see whether he was turning green. But I just noticed you creep back in then like that.
Yeah. Oh, I literally panicked because we've got our green bin is full, and I'm like, I can't miss it because it's 2 weeks till the next collection. Oh, my heart was in my mouth.
Okay, right, crack on with it now. You need to get your breath back, or explain that Thommo's out of breath because he just put the... We were going to leave it in, but we forgot that you didn't have anything on, so we can't leave it in.
Oh God! I've got underwear on. It's just quite tight.
Did you go out and do the bin like that?
I didn't have time. I just had to get out there. Oh, the neighbours like. I've got to see it. I think.
Yeah,
right.
They're used to me.
Yes.
Next to you for a while. Right, come on then. Are you all right with this next question?
Sorry. Yeah. Right. So I'm going from the bottom, aren't I? Nathan Poulton. Okay. Yeah.
The things that runners do. Thommo just runs outside in his boxer shorts just to put the thing. Listener interaction. If you're listening to the podcast, how many people might be listening to the podcast and think, I forgot to put my green bin out as well. Right, thanks, Thommo.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So there you go.
But we do. We just, it's that drone of the garbage, or what do we call it? Garbage.
The bin
machine.
The bin lorry.
Bin man. Yeah. Right. Bring down. I'm back.
Right, there you go. Now you've got your breath back from running back up the stairs. Do you want to read the next question?
I can't believe I just did that. I don't know what I'm more embarrassed about, the bin or the pants. Okay, right. Okay, Nathan Poulton. How you doing, mate? So all right, I better do it properly because it sounds like I'm laughing in. Right, this comes in from Nathan Poulton regarding a Birmingham marathon. Hi, Paula and Chris. I'm loving the podcast. It's so informative. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. One thing I want to mention is how few marathons there are in the UK. I care deeply about climate change, so travelling abroad for marathons is not good for the planet. With the cost of living as well, having more marathons in the UK would be better there, having been so many marathons that would have stopped, especially in the West Midlands, such as Wolverhampton. Robin Hood Marathon, the Great Runs International, Birmingham Marathon. I think what we need is a marathon in Birmingham, which is central to the UK, as Birmingham does not have a tube system. I think the way to make it exciting for spectators and a great atmosphere whilst also limiting road closures is to have a lapped course. I've taken part in a lapped marathon in the past, and it really works when you have cheer points or loved ones look forward to seeing at certain points. The course I've plotted is a loop around Birmingham Library up Broad Street, which has lots of pubs and bars for spectators, then travels down to Birmingham University before circling it back. It would use both sides of the road with runners running on the opposite side to how cars go. I think having a race in the autumn in late September before the qualifying period finishes for the following year's London Marathon would be great. As you're both great ambassadors, I think with your connection to Steve Cram, Brendan Foster and the Great Run Company could make a return to Birmingham in the autumn, or perhaps Hugh Braysher himself could expand the events London Marathon puts on, as there is certainly the demand. I know Chris Evans at Virgin Radio would be a strong advocate. I think it would be great if we could get mention this in your podcast so we can get the idea floated. It could even be run by the Birmingham Council in partnership with private organisations to help towards their financial problems. The link to the course, which is 4 laps, and he's actually put a link on the email to it, which I will take a look afterwards. Let me know your thoughts. All the best. Keep up the good work. Regards, Nathan Poulton. Wow, what a cool email. Like, that's, I mean, I've raced not the Birmingham Marathon, I've raced the half marathon, I've raced the 10K. Birmingham was actually, the half marathon was at my comeback race post Achilles surgery, and I had a really good battle with an athlete called Landesam, who we'd battled many times on the track, and I've beaten him every time, so that makes me happy. And and it had, and like he says, there's some real iconic parts to the Birmingham race around the Birmingham Centre, and I have to say, I don't disagree with any of you. I think Birmingham is a great location for that. I think there is definitely an appetite for more. I agree. I think there is a definite... I mean, I know, speaking to many event organisers, they are oversubscribed, not under.
Yeah.
And there's big waiting lists. Our good friend Al, who's on a previous pod with her event, she said there's big waiting lists to get in. So I think, I agree, the appetite is definitely there. Without being an event organiser, certainly around Birmingham, there's going to be a lot of different moving parts to get an event up and running, closing roads. Like London is a huge operation and a partnership with all the different boroughs within London. It's not just one person. You've got to talk to all the boroughs and all that, and Birmingham, I'm sure of that. But I certainly think this could be... I agree for all your different reasons and all that. But did you ever race in Birmingham, Paula?
I used to race, I used to race the road relays in Birmingham with Sutton Coldfield a lot.
Sutton Coldfield, yeah,
loved
yes.
that course. So, I mean, there's also an idea to do it like that and put it in a park such as that, and then it would definitely have to be a number of laps. But it's the way New York City Marathon started in the first few years, was entirely within the park, and then expanded outside of that to take in all of the 5 boroughs through New York. So that's absolutely an idea. I did commentate on the Commonwealth Marathon in Birmingham. That was a great course. I think from memory, Victor Kiplangert won it, and
in 22.
Yeah. Do
you know who? Well, he didn't design the course, but do you know the race director of that who helped? It was Gareth Turnbull.
Was it?
Yeah, because he inherited it late in terms of the course had been set and stuff, but he helped with the management of all that. Yeah, no, it was very good. But again, because it finished in the centre, there were things that made it unique and tough. But again, it's like anything. It's the enthusiasm and the expertise, which he's mentioned all these people that. We're at the Great North soon. And we're going to interview Brendan. Maybe we put this very question to him.
We'll see what we can do. Maybe we have a Paula's Run Club marathon. Just throwing out there.
Paula, what did you just? Did you just start something?
Just throw it out there, but let's move quickly on to the next question. Let's see if there's anybody. Don't forget, how you get in touch with us is Paula's Run Club at momentumbroadcast.co.uk. Maybe you want us to include that idea out there and to develop that a little bit further. Maybe you can help us develop it a little bit further. Send that in. Right, so the next question comes from Lauren Braithwaite. So... Oh, did you? So put your training runs in then.
No, do you know what? Actually, really good point. My first ever run with my dad was in Solihull when he came back from work, and there's a video of me coming back from a run, and that was my first footsteps as a kid to do a run of sorts was in Solihull when we lived there. But anyway, sorry.
My first English schools was Birmingham as well.
Stars
stayed at
aligning.
the uni there. Right, so the question from Lauren Braithwaite. This is: Hi Paula and Chris, I'm a huge fan of the podcast and have been listening since the beginning of the year. I'm preparing for my 5th marathon on the 4th weekend of August. Oh, we're dropping just in time for you then, where I'm going to attempt a Boston qualifying time, age group 35 to 39. I am from the UK, but I've lived in Mexico City for 5 years, topping up on the altitude training. At this altitude, she's put 7,200 feet. My race pace is very different from what I can achieve at sea level. So I do a lot of my training to effort, which is great. My question is whether I run to effort on the day or check the watch religiously every kilometre to make sure I'm on pace. I'm worried that if I run without looking at the watch, I'll either go out too fast because it'll feel a lot easier, or I'll be too slow because I'm being overly cautious. I wouldn't usually be concerned, but I'm flying to the United States just for this marathon, so I want to give it my very best. Thanks so much, and please keep the podcast going. It's the most honest and relatable running show out there. Thank you very much, which is invaluable for passionate everyday runners like me. And that's from Lauren. Well, first of all, Lauren, good luck, because it is fast approaching. And I'm going to bring you in on this, Thommo, but I would say a mixture of both, but leaning towards feel. What do you think?
I completely agree. I always... the technology today is great, that you get a lot of feedback from a watch around pace and distance and all these kind of things. They're great, but I think it's a bit like social media. You can almost become a bit too without realizing it, you can almost become too drawn to it, and and it does have an effect on the mindset. And actually, your best and most reliable form of pace and how you're doing is yourself. And keeping that relationship with your own feel is, for me, especially marathon, that's the thing you should trust more than anything. Even if a watch is telling you your pace is X, that doesn't tell you how you feel.
Yeah.
It just tells you the pace. And I think
and it can change on the day, can't it? You can feel different on the day, but by tuning into your feelings, and I think particularly for Lauren, if you're tuning into feel and you're getting it right for long runs at high altitude, because at high altitude it's really easy to get those long runs wrong and to go off too quickly and actually not even be able to finish it. At sea level you might be able to suffer through it and get to the end of it, but at altitude it's much, much harder. So if you're running to feel and getting it right at altitude, I would absolutely say that, and I would perhaps even advise checking too much against the watch, because my gut feel is that you are more likely to be running, you'll slow down looking at the watch, because I think coming from altitude into to race at near enough sea level will feel easy and you will be running quicker. So I think tune in absolutely to how you feel and how you gauge the effort over the time that you want to be out there. And yes, you can look at the clocks by the side of the road to get a little bit of a guide on your actual time, but in terms of checking in regularly every mile, I wouldn't do that. I would just tune into yourself and really concentrate on getting that fueling right. And good luck. Please let us know how you get on, Lauren.
Yeah, I think my final point would be, in training, I would practice guessing what your time in your watch says, and that will help you connect the feeling to the correct thing, so you almost can know that you're hitting the kind of pace. But she can't do that if she's still at Mexico City as she's training, though, because it will be what she's saying is, because she's in Mexico City, she can't connect the time to effort because it's slower at altitude. I mean, so maybe when you're right, when you come into sea level, just try it there a little bit. I'm just trying to mean that in terms of how you connect the feel to pace, and then you kind of mimicking that. If you're going to somewhere else, you're basing it on feel rather than trying to think, right, I need to be 10 seconds slower per K. You know, if you're 5 minute per K at where you live, and then you know that's the feeling you're trying to gauge based on. Anyway, John Spears writes in about rehabbing. Hi Paula and Chris, absolutely loved the podcast, thank you very much. I wanted to share my running journey with you as I'm inspired by both of you. Thank you, that's really kind. Paula is my marathon hero and I've spent many moments roaring her on during track and road races, something we've all done.
Thank you.
Sometimes with successful outcomes for you and sometimes not so good endings for you. Something we touched upon on your episode, didn't we, of just that almost, but you got there, you finished on the high note. Weirdly, it was the memory of when it went wrong for you that I go to when struggling in training, racing, rehab. It helps me visualise that it's okay to suffer. Shout out to Thommo for the best ever marathon finish line celebration. Oh, bless you.
Yeah.
I still think about Kew Gardens a lot. It's the icing on my career. Anyway, I'm an older guy, currently 50, and only started running at age 42. Prior to starting to run, I was a heavy smoker and drinker who was not in the best physical condition. I should caveat this by adding that I was a pretty decent runner as a teenager, but like many others decided not to stick at athletics. I ran my marathon PB in December last year, 2 hours 44, very good, even though my race didn't go to plan. Lost gels, missed water stops, etc, etc. Last year I won the Scottish 50k championships and finished 5th overall in the UK champs, same race.
Well done.
It's not a particularly popular distance, so I do appreciate the scale of my achievement sounds better than reality. Not at all, do not ever belittle, that is phenomenal. Mm-hmm. Like, just because someone didn't turn up, you still beat them.
Yeah.
So don't worry about that. I wondered what your thoughts are on longevity in athletics. I feel as though my legs have loads left in them, and I actually feel that I should be able to take another significant chunk off my marathon PB. I don't believe age is a barrier. Am I delusional, and should I perhaps grow old gracefully? Not at all.
No.
I hope my journey can maybe show others that you can go further and faster than you currently think. When I started, I couldn't even run 5k without walking. My last race was the West Highland Way race, John Spears. What a great email. We get such good interactions, and they just, I love it. I love hearing it, and I get a real goosebump about thinking about the journey that running has done for him, and what it obviously helped him go back to and do. So I was going to say, absolutely not. You are not delusional. That is completely off the charts, nowhere near. It is without a doubt something that I think you touched on. It's a mindset thing. The body is something that has to match what you think and believe is possible.
And also, I am a big believer in running is, you can mature as a runner and you can mature as a person, but the actual longevity of how long you can keep running is more about overall miles on the clock. And as an example, go back to a guy called Keith Anderson. I don't know if you remember him, Thommo.
Yes.
You were probably too much of a baby.
Yes, I do.
But yeah, he started running in his 40s. Also had been a heavy smoker, and came into running, discovered marathon running, ended up representing Great Britain at the World Championships. I think it was Gothenburg in '95. But a phenomenal athlete in his 40s. But just because he started later, he had that freshness. And I remember, while I'm in front row, I remember doing some runs with him out here. And I'm not joking, he ran down some of those trail hills like a teenager. No fear whatsoever, just bombed it down those. And none of the aging joints things that I have now trying to go down those hills. So absolutely, I think it is more about miles on the clock. And I think the fact that you've just started in running means that you have so much left in, and it is all about enthusiasm and remembering that, as you get older, you have to work on perhaps recovery, perhaps keeping that muscle strength up, but the endurance stays pretty strong. And I think as a distance runner, it's a good thing to be in, and it is totally about what you're enjoying doing. So you're a spring chicken really, and you've got lots yet left to achieve, and good luck in doing that.
Well, it's exactly, and I think I would end on the fact that I've had a lot of conversations around athletes, like older athletes that have found running late, and and one of the questions I'll ask is, well, what's your structure of your week and how do you do it? And actually, that is a big part of the puzzle of, can you explore more in training and do more in training that's not just about volume. We think about volume and we think about the amount of running we can do, but actually you can do so much more within the limits of your days. If you only have an hour a day, 7 days a week, you think you can't do a huge amount of miles, but within that you can actually break up that hour to be quite creative, and actually speed plays a huge part of bringing your overall fitness forward. So I would say to you as well, explore that side of things. Don't just think of it as volume, don't think of it as absolute miles, think of it as how much more creative within that can I be, and can I do, like you say, alternative stuff that helps grow my physical profile, whether it's in the gym or cross training or anything like that. Because running is not just about, like you say, miles on the clock. It's not just about I've run 50 miles a week this week, therefore that equals this, so for me to run quicker I need to run 60. No, is that 50, what's the quality of that
Sweet
50
spot.
like? What more can I do within that 50 to make it better? And that's something that I think for people to explore a lot of. And quite often the answer is yes, you could probably do a lot more with that 50 miles you're doing, or 40, whatever the heck it is. It's just,
And hey,
be creative.
And he's just run his PB last year as well, 2:44. So it shows improvement is still happening. So absolutely keep with it. Keep letting us know when you do run a PB. Why don't we all keep pinging those PBs through to us, and we can add you onto the honours board as well. Thank you so much for all of the questions that are coming in. Just a reminder once more, the email address is paula's.runclub@momentumbroadcast.co.uk. The text is +44 7564 747 914, and it is at Paula's Run Club on socials, on Facebook, on Instagram, all of those. I think you can write questions in on YouTube as well, can you? We'll try and see if that's a possibility. But
in the comments at the bottom,
And don't forget, you can catch up.
That probably means there's a message that we haven't got to now.
Yeah, I know. So we need to get to that one.
We are.
And we will keep trying to get to as many of those as possible. Thanks once again for listening. This has been a Momentum Broadcast production, and we will join you for the weekly Shakeout moving forward every week on a Thursday. Thank you. And that's a goodbye from us for this week.
Excellent. See you soon, guys.